Hi there. Now, the journey to motherhood is unique for all mothers, and our guest today is no exception. After delivering her bundle of joy, and she goes home, her health is drastically compromised, and she's here tonight to share her story. So welcome to Unscripted with me, Grace Msalame, from the scenic location that is Steakhouse on Manyani Road in Lavington. Karibu. Hi there, thank you for tuning in. My name is Grace, like I mentioned, and my beautiful guest is Gathoni. Gathoni, welcome to Unscripted.
Thank you, Grace.
Karibu
I'm so
sana.
happy to be here.
It's a pleasure. So I know who you are. You can tell people at home something about Gathoni. Who are you? What do you like? Just introduce yourself to the guys at home.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jane Gathoni Mutua. I'm born again. I love the Lord. I am a wife to an amazing husband, Samuel Mutua, and a mother to two children, Wendo, who is 2 years, 5 months, and Imani, boy, who is 5 months. He's almost 5 months. So I'm a teacher by profession.
Nice to have you here. What do you teach?
I teach mathematics.
I need lessons with you. Sucked at that.
We can plan that.
You can plan that. You can help my kids. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much.
So today we're talking about your journey to motherhood. So first comes love, then comes marriage, and then time to start the family. Tell us about your journey. How was yours?
I met my husband in college. Yeah, so we courted for around 2 years. And then that was around 2015. We started courting in 2015. Then we got married in 2016, December 17th. December 17th, 2016. Yeah, so it's a dream for everyone who gets married. I mean, you know, there's that desire to have children. Yeah, so we had purpose to stay at least 1 year and just get to know each other and, you know, navigate this new venture,
of course,
marriage.
It's important.
Yeah. So we were really hoping that by the second year we would have a child. That didn't happen. So at some point I had to seek medical attention. Yeah, so there is a guy who helped us, or rather who worked with us. We had to do some number of tests. I remember there is one that I did called HSG, where they check the tubes, whether the tubes are blocked. Yeah, and I remember one was partially blocked, the other one they said was completely blocked. Yeah, but at least the HSG actually helps to unblock I mean the one that is partially. Yeah, so that actually helped because I had taken some fertility drugs and nothing was happening. But I remember the same month that I did that HSG test is the same month I conceived. Yeah. So it was really exciting for us because we had really prayed about it. We had tried all means, you know. Yeah, it was getting a bit scary.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
It's not happening.
We hear of these stories a lot now, and
Yeah.
women coming out to share their experience, whether it's infertility or their long journey to motherhood. How was it for you when for a year you're trying and it's not happening? What were those moments like?
It was a bit scary, though I didn't experience anyone asking. Although I remember there is one who asked, how long do you want to stay without
There's no hurry. It was still early.
Yeah, it's still, yeah. So, but the pressure was not much. I actually feel the pressure was more internal.
Yeah, I was going to ask for you. How was that for you? Because between the two of you, you wanted within the second year.
In the second year.
So how was it when it wasn't happening?
Yeah, so it was a bit discouraging. I remember there are times we would just pray and I would break down. You know, I'm like, it's not happening. Yeah, but I think I would always get encouraged because, you know, there are women who've waited longer. So I was like, God, I'll still wait, you know. Because at some point we had to boost ovulation. And then now there is the fertility drug itself. Now it was not happening. So now the doctor was like, let's do this test and check the tubes. Yeah, and thankfully it worked. Yeah.
So how was it when you check the test and it's positive, or your period didn't come? How was that moment when
It was so exciting. I remember I took a photo and sent it to my husband on WhatsApp because he was not home. Actually, I remember it was, we were celebrating our second year of marriage. So I got to know we are expecting during our anniversary week. So I kept saying it was a gift for our anniversary.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. Yeah.
And how was the pregnancy? Did you have a smooth pregnancy all through?
Yeah, so the pregnancy was okay. After the first trimester, I was good.
Good.
Yeah, just the normal nausea and all that. So for the first trimester, all that was over. So I enjoyed the second trimester and the third. In fact, I worked until the last minute. Yeah, so I do I've been helping homeschoolers, their parents who homeschool. So I've been doing more of tutoring, mathematics. Yeah, so I would move to homes and meet my students, help them, and go back home.
And it was time to have baby.
Yeah, it was time to have baby.
Here's your bundle of joy. You know, you're excited and over the moon.
Yeah.
What happened next that changed your life completely?
Yeah. So I remember it was on 17th of August, 2019. So I remember my husband had traveled to Kitui for a wedding. So I just walked to a nearby supermarket, and when I came back, I felt a bit different. Of course, it was our first child, but I felt, I think it's time. Yeah, so I remember calling him, and thankfully I waited for him to be back. One of the things that we've never understood was we really struggled to agree on a hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we really disagreed. I think part of the healing journey, maybe I'll come to it, was that part where you feel maybe you would have done things, different. Finally, we had to. We looked for a hospital nearby our place. Yeah, so he came. He drove, and like I went to hospital. Everything was okay. Yeah, until when it came to the time of delivery. Yeah, sadly, I think unfortunately I didn't meet very kind medics.
Why? What happened?
Because I remember during that labor time, I remember calling the nurse, and he was busy on his computer. Yeah, so
and you need assistance at that point.
Yeah, I needed assistance. Of course, I didn't know how it feels when the baby. Of course, I had watched a lot of YouTube
but
videos.
It's different.
But it's different, Yeah, so I think it saddened my heart that the guy was not interested, or rather, I think he thought it's the normal, the kawaida noise that women make. Yeah, but I was calling him to come and assist me. And I think with after some seconds, I would say,
what happened?
I can't remember actually whether I sat or I knelt, but I remember seeing a pool of blood.
Oh, wow. Around you?
Yeah, around me. And the baby was out. It was more of a blackout. Really? I can't really tell how actually the baby survived, because the baby, I mean, it's the head that comes out first. And so I can't really tell how the baby came out. I can't remember whether I knelt or I don't know, but I was not on a bed. Yeah, so
baby came out to you by yourself?
Yeah, but now I remember the nurse coming.
Okay.
And the nurse now, I think he came. I can't really remember. And of course, he had to cut the cord and all that. Yeah, and I think he also really got traumatized, because actually he didn't even finish the process. Another nurse had to come and attend to me. Wow. So I really had a bad...
Do you know what happened?
Now, we've always felt probably my troubles started there.
Yeah.
So so they attended, I mean, they did the necessary, they checked the baby. The baby was fine, she was responding.
What about
and then for me, they also checked, I seemed okay. Yeah, so the following morning, my husband came and I was really mad, I was really sad. It was
how
a private
everything
hospital.
Was handled.
Yeah, it was a private hospital, and I felt this was not the right place for us,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so he also got disappointed, and we agreed, now that the baby has been checked and I'm fine, maybe not even transfer, because it was a normal delivery. So normal delivery, within 2 days you're out of hospital. So he was like, it seems you're fine, the baby is okay, so what we'll do, let them discharge you, then I'll call the hospital management. So I remember I had gone to hospital on a Saturday. So on a Monday we were discharged. So my husband called. He told them my wife was in this hospital on this day, and this happened, and they are fine. But for the sake of other women who may come, probably it's good you look at this. So they asked which date it was. I think they checked who was in charge and all that, but we didn't follow up. So I think 2 days after is when now I started becoming very weak. So every time my husband would tell me, you wake up and breastfeed the baby, I didn't have the strength. I didn't have the strength to hold the baby. Then because of the bad tear, I couldn't even sit. It was really hard to sit.
Yeah.
Now, being the first child, my husband was not sure whether it was
Normal
fatigue, I mean, whatever I was going through. Yeah, so I think as we continued, I started having fatigue, fever. So I think around Friday, he realized, no, things are not okay. I normally say God used was on Saturday now. Remember, I was discharged on a Monday. So now this new week on Saturday, he realized a bit of confusion had kicked in. So I would talk of things that are not there. So he realized
hallucinating.
I was hallucinating. So he realized, no, there is a problem. So that night on Saturday, he looked at my hand. So unfortunately, I had not removed my rings. So I had really put on a lot of weight, and it was difficult to remove my rings. So that night, he decided to cut them because he was feeling probably my rings are making me uncomfortable. So remember, I look confused. He could tell I'm not the one. It was a different scenario. Yeah, so he decided to cut the rings. I can't even remember what he used to cut the rings. But I think he felt probably the rings are making me uncomfortable because my hand now he realized my fingers were pale. So on Sunday he insisted, now.
Both hands or just one?
Just one, the left one. So now on Sunday morning he told me, now let's leave the baby with our help. Let me rush you to a nearby hospital, we check. So I was telling him, no, I'm fine. But he could tell. I keep saying it's the Spirit of God. He could tell there is a problem.
You know what? Let's take a pause right there. We'll be right back and get to hear what happened to Gathoni. Stay put. Welcome back. So Gathoni, before the break, you're telling us, so you have your child, you get home and you start falling ill.
Yeah.
And it's almost bizarre. You know, you're hallucinating, you have fever, you're fatigued, and then your fingers are pale.
Yeah, pale, yeah.
So what did your husband do?
So he took me to hospital. So it was interesting because I went down the stairs and I couldn't walk. When I got to ground floor, I couldn't walk. And he had to pick me, put me into the car and took me to hospital. So when we got there, it was not a very big hospital. So I thank God they were really honest. After they did a number of tests, they felt whatever I was ailing, they couldn't manage. There are things that probably they didn't have, which was quite honest, because I keep saying
they would have thinking about the first
time. The first time, you know. Yeah, so now this was a different hospital. So they were like, now, being it was on a Sunday, they were like, being a Sunday, I would advise you just if the baby is at home. So we left the baby with the house help. Remember, the baby is 1 week. Now I've not been feeding her, so she used to cry a lot because I didn't even have the strength, you know. So we told our help would be back within 1 hour because we didn't go very far. So now my husband was told, just take her to Kenyatta Hospital, let them check what the problem is. Just buy naan and take it home, and then the baby will be fine. So that day, my mother-in-law and father-in-law are coming, and we left my husband left the naan to my mom and told her to just read the instruction. We didn't even have the time. So we drove to Kenyatta. By the time we were getting to Kenyatta, I was struggling to breathe.
It was just getting worse.
It was getting worse, one thing after another. So by the time I was getting there, I was taken directly to a resuscitation room. It was that bad. So at this point, I can't even tell what is happening. I'm still conscious, but things are happening so fast. I could tell my husband is walking from one place to another because he's been told, go make payments here, come, you know, do all that. But I thank God Kenyatta Hospital was quite swift. They identified I had a clot in the heart. But now, unfortunately, the ICU was full. Remember, it was not even during Corona times, but the ICU was full. So we had left the house at 9 a.m. on Sunday. It's now midnight. So we are heading now to Monday.
And you still don't have?
We still don't have a... No, at least now in Kenyatta we settled. They identified there's a clot in the heart, and now that's what they call pulmonary embolism. And now that's why the breathing now was an issue. So they were like, this patient is an ICU patient.
What did they do? Did they begin treatment?
So now, no. So now they were like, unless now you wait, we get a bed. So my husband was with the father. He was like, no, we can't wait, an emergency. So we had to get a hospital, and we had lived in Utawala some time back. So there is Komarok Modern, which I am always grateful for them. Okay. So that's where we went. At least they had a bed. So thankfully, I was the only patient there in the ICU. So they really attended to me. And I'm so grateful that they were so gracious. They didn't even ask for any payment at first. They went straight to the treatment. Yeah, and so many tests were done. So I had to be on oxygen. So now in the ICU. Yeah, so
from having a baby 1 minute,
imagine,
to being in the ICU, almost at the brink of.
Yeah.
Did they figure out what the cause was? What led to this?
No, it was difficult because now they also realized I had sepsis. Yeah, sepsis is an infection. Yeah, so from the research that we did, it seemed probably that sepsis, I got it in the previous hospital, the birth process. But the clot, probably even the clot, but we've never gotten established. Yeah, but because there are women who get clots after delivery or even during pregnancy. But I didn't have a clot during pregnancy. Yeah, so now they realized I had sepsis and pulmonary embolism. I also had pneumonia. I was really coughing.
Gathoni, that's a lot for one person.
I was in pain, Grace. I was in pain, like every time I look back, I'm like, Yeah, so after 2 days of being in the ICU, my hand turned black. I couldn't feel my fingers. It was a bad hand. It was bad. It was
like
swollen.
rotting away.
Yeah, it was rotting away. It was a bad hand. I mean, I couldn't even live with it, by the way. So it turned black. So there is there used to be a physiotherapist who used to come and just try and massage and all that, But I couldn't feel my fingers. Yeah, so of course they also knew it was not easy. So amputation was not the first thing they thought about. They were really hoping that somehow blood would, because the reason why the fingers turned black is there was
no blood flow.
There was no blood flow, exactly. But now I think after 2 days again, it started eating my left, it started affecting my left toes.
No.
So whatever it was affecting the left side.
And all this is the clot?
No, that's why I was saying it was not established whether it was the clot that prevented blood from flowing on the left side, which led now to gangrene, because that was now gangrene. My hand had turned gangrenous, and also for the toes, the left toes.
So sorry. So what was the cause of action?
So now they took some time. Remember, there's a clot in the heart, so they can't rush to take me to the theater. So I had to be on blood thinners. I had to be on a lot of antibiotics. I mean, lots of antibiotics, just to deal with the infection. So I remember at some point I'm told, they called my family and they were like, now here, we're not sure. We're not sure that she'll make it.
Wow.
Yeah, because of the clot. The clot was moving like a tennis ball. It was that huge, I hear. It was like a tennis ball. When a clot dislocates, it can erupt at any point, yeah. Thankfully, God held it. It dissolved. By then, it started dissolving through the blood thinners. I would have those daily injections and a lot of medication that I got. Yeah, and I think when they realized the clot had reduced, now it was time for action. And they had to break the news that unfortunately, I had to be amputated. I had to lose a part of my left hand and my toes. Because now they were trying to avoid it to affect a bigger part and also for the leg. That would have meant even the walking becomes a problem.
How was that moment when the doctor told you? You're seeing your hand yourself and your fingers.
Yeah.
The doctor tells you they have to amputate. What was that moment like for you?
It didn't make sense then. I think for some reason, because I'd gone through a lot of pain, I thought somehow maybe the hand would grow again. I don't know.
For you, it was just relief in that moment.
It was just relief at that moment.
Makes sense.
So I was like, if that will make me fine, it's okay. Sense. And indeed, I remember after the theater, after they amputated, the temperatures went back to normal. In fact, they were really struggling with the fevers that I had. But I remember after the amputation, at least now they even moved me from the ICU to the general ward.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can remember I left a one week baby, so it's now a month. It's now a month I'm in hospital. Yeah, but thankfully, after the operation, things started slowing down, and my body now was okay.
But now back to general ward.
Yeah,
here you are. You've been amputated, and you said your toes as well.
Yeah, my toes as well.
You have a 1-month-old baby at home. You've not seen your baby for 1 month. You're with her for a few days.
Yeah.
What state are you in, Gathoni, when you think of all of that?
So I think because of the pain, for a long time I thought it's a dream. I kept saying this is a dream. I'll wake up and find it's not real.
Yeah.
So at some point, especially in the ICU, I was not even asking about my daughter. I think I had forgotten. I don't know. When I went to the general ward is when now I started asking about her. And I kept asking for her photos. I think at this point now I was recovering.
I see.
Yeah, and also now the reality of a bandage, I can feel my fingers, but my hand is not there. You know, they kept coming to dress it.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time they came after I left the theater, I was asking them, is there a way I can just sleep and not see the hand and, you know, my leg? But they were like, no, there's no need. Yeah, so we went through some counseling with my husband while in hospital.
Good.
Yeah, and I think the reality hit now when I went back home. Yeah, that's when now it was real that I have a baby, a 1-month baby. Yeah. I don't have part of my hand, you know. Yeah. And as a believer, I knew there are trials and tribulations that come.
That's true.
And also the whole aspect of vows being tested. Yeah, but now at the time now when you go through it, that's when it hits so hard, and probably you are used to preaching to others, and now it's your time
to preach to yourself.
To preach to myself.
That's powerful.
So I remember there are songs I would struggle to sing, Grace. I mean, they were like, these songs are not making sense, and every time I would cry out to God, I would just cry. I didn't even have words, you know. Yeah, and I would say probably prayers of friends and family really helped me.
Okay.
Yeah, and through it all, I was in a position to look back and see that actually God gave me another chance to live.
Amen.
I mean, it was not a guarantee that I would even see my baby again or I would go back to my husband, you know. Yeah, and we really had...
How did this impact your relationship actually with your husband?
With my husband?
Yeah, how did this impact your marriage? Very young marriage, 2 years.
Yeah, it was 2 years. Yeah. Now this was our third year. The time the baby was being born. Yeah, so it brought us closer, all the more. Him again being a believer, the Lord helped him to just remain sober. In fact, I think he was now my encourager, you know. He was like...
Good. He was your support system.
He was my support system. In fact, he told me there's a time he wondered, after he was told the amputation would be done, he wondered which one would he choose, living with me with the amputation or, you know. And I mean, it's better this. It's not the best. I mean, he had not seen it coming, but the fact that God had given me a chance to live.
That's true.
Then it went, it was a season of my purpose being birthed, or rather the purpose for our marriage being birthed.
That's powerful.
Yeah, so I thank God that he remained sober. And I would say, other than God, he was my next support system, you know. We looked at it as more of a hard or a difficult season that actually was a purpose that was being birthed, you know. A purpose for my life and a purpose for our marriage. Yeah, because it didn't affect, I've never felt like he changed his love for me because of, what really happened.
That's good.
And other than God, I keep feeling that the fact that he has stood with me actually helped me to bounce back.
That's true.
Yeah.
You talk of purpose. I love that. It's not easy to get from a point of pain to purpose.
Yeah.
So for you, as Gathoni, as a unit, as a family, a couple, what do you believe is your purpose now?
So for now, it's been very clear that the whole aspect of vows, that vows are tested.
True.
And by God's grace, it's possible to still keep them, you know, because we are convinced that actually when one is saying those vows, you're normally declaring the presence of God and witnesses that actually you love this man or love this woman
no matter what
at that time, and even in the future that you don't know, you know, because on that day no one knows how the future would be like. Yeah, so just to be an encouragement out there, and I'm grateful that the whole experience have been a great encouragement to the body of Christ and even to everyone who has heard of the story. Yeah, that actually it's possible to stick to one another. And God gives the grace that life moves on, you know.
True.
Yeah, and that has really helped us.
As you finish this part, how has the bond with your baby been? How did you go back into creating a bond with baby, navigating a new you and a newborn? Already having a newborn is not easy. So how was that process for you?
Yeah, so I'm grateful that my mom and my mother-in-law were around.
Good.
In fact, now when I went to hospital they had to be around helping our help.
Okay.
Yeah, so they really helped me, especially the first few months.
Good.
My mom she had to leave her
Come
work and
stay
just
with
come
you.
stay with us.
Yeah.
Yes, that really helped. And then I also met a friend who had lost part of her hand, or rather I got to know her through some friends.
Okay.
And she came and we did so many stuff. She showed me how she would do things with one hand. And that really opened my
Encouraged
eyes.
you.
I was like, oh, so it's possible. So she was like, the next time I'm coming, we'll come and wash the baby. Do you know, by the time she was coming, I had already washed the baby.
Wow.
I mean, I could now use my stamp. She really
Okay.
encouraged me, use the stamp, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, and every time I would hold the baby, I would support her with the stamp.
Good.
Then I would use my right hand to wash her, to change her clothes. So now it's difficult to change her clothes when she's lying.
Yeah.
So I
You
hold
put
her.
her- okay.
I just put her here, use my stamp to support her, and then change her. So the only thing probably that is difficult right now is maybe washing clothes. I mean, I don't struggle.
Okay.
I don't bother much.
Yes.
Yeah, but I can cook. I can do so many things. I can play with my baby. In fact, we really love each other. She's such an angel.
Bless.
And I'm so grateful. Every time I look at her, I feel she came to this earth just for my purpose, really, you know, to be
Right.
accomplished. You know, that it was through her, actually.
Amen.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful to God that at least I'm able to do life with her.
Amen.
And she's alive, yeah.
You have a beautiful story. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And thank you, Gathoni, for sharing your story. Now, after you recovered complications from birth and that whole experience, a year later, your health again was compromised. Explain to me what happened.
So now it was 1 year after, and I keep feeling that the 1 year was more of, it was a period of recovering, accepting.
A grace period.
Yeah, it was a grace period. We had cleared the bill. We had actually to fundraise because the bill was quite high because I had been in the ICU for quite some months. And God provided miraculously. I'm so grateful to my family and friends who came in and the bill was cleared. But now 1 year after, I got an infection and I went to hospital, got antibiotics. It was some stomach kind of an issue, but now when I went to hospital, I was told that it was a viral and bacterial infection. So COVID was already there. So in fact, I was encouraged to do a COVID test, but I mean, I was not positive. Yeah.
Okay.
So got some antibiotics, but now I think 1 week didn't even end. I realized my body started getting weaker. Every time I would sit, I couldn't rise on my own. I would struggle to rise from a seat. My legs were very weak. And I think at some point my right hand lost its grip. Then I realized every time I want to chew and swallow food, I would struggle. It's difficult. Yeah, and it was really hard to tell what it was. So we went back to hospital. They were like, the infection is still there, and I think it has got to the blood, and probably that's why you're experiencing the weakness. So I was told, you just give it time, but if it continues, just come back. So when I went home, I realized it was not getting better. In fact, at some point, I would even have a foot drop. I would find I've just fallen, you know. Yeah, it was really bad. My legs were really feeble. I mean, my right hand now. So things as basic as even pressing a lotion or even toothpaste, it was difficult. The grip, I had lost the grip. I couldn't even hold our baby. I couldn't even lift her.
Oh, no.
You know, it was really difficult. Yeah,
Did they find out what the issue was?
So now we had to see a neurologist. In fact, I was admitted for two days in a different hospital. They couldn't find, everything seemed okay. They did so many tests. But now we were encouraged to see a neurologist. Yeah, so we went to a neurologist. It was so sad that when we went there, the neurologist was like, it seemed, now from the complications, it seems that you have this syndrome called Guillain-Barré syndrome. You know those things the doctor talks about and you're like, okay, 1 year ago, whatever I went through, the doctors were like, we have not seen this. So I'm here and the neurologist is saying there is this syndrome, it's a rare one. So I'm wondering, okay, what are you talking about? And then he talks about there is this medication we give patients who have this, and the drug itself is 1.3 million.
What?
Remember the previous year we were raising millions.
Wow.
So this 1.3 is mentioning it's money we don't even have.
And
the
what
doctor
caused
is
this?
so...
Can they trace what caused it?
No, they didn't. In fact, friends and family were asking, is it related to what you went through the previous time? But no, what happens is that for you to get that Guillain-Barré syndrome, It's once you get an infection, you get antibiotics, some kind of confusion comes into your body. Remember, your antibodies should fight disease, but now I don't know why the antibodies got threatened and they started fighting my nerves. So it's a condition that
your body is fighting yourself.
See, exactly. So now what happens is you're supposed to get medication that will neutralize your antibodies, or rather silence them, because now it meant I had harmful antibodies.
Oh my.
And that's how actually one gets paralyzed.
Wow.
And all that. So the
How
sad
bad
part
did
was,
it get?
yeah, I didn't get there. The sad part was the doctors were like, we'll give you this medication, but we will not tell you until when you'll be fine, because the patients recover differently. There are patients who recover after 1 year. There are patients who recover after a few months. Yeah. So for me, so I got the medication, thankfully. God provided the money. The bill was also quite high. We had to fundraise again. I mean, it didn't seem even true. You know, you guys were fundraising 1 year ago, so you're back, you know. Yeah, but thank God we got the money, and I got treatment, came back home. So I had to be on physiotherapy just to strengthen my muscles and all that. There are those I could do at home. There are those I could go and get in hospital. Yeah, but now 2 months into the recovery, I'm still struggling to rise from a seat. I'm still supporting myself. My hand is still recovering, gaining strength and all that. We realize I'm expectant.
Not planned, just a beautiful surprise in the
just
midst of all of that.
Just a beautiful surprise in the midst of all that, you know. Yeah, wow. So we realized actually I was around 6 weeks pregnant, you know, 6 weeks.
How did you take that news? Were you nervous or were you excited?
I had mixed feelings, because from the previous experience,
of course,
I was even struggling
there
were fears. Every time I would see a pregnant woman, I couldn't look at them a second time. So now realizing that I'm actually pregnant, it was traumatic, you know. So now realizing that we are expecting a second born, okay, we're excited, but at the same time, we're like, we don't know how this would turn out. Yeah.
And how did it all go? Being pregnant, first you're not well.
Yeah.
The second pregnancy, how was it? And baby getting, how was that journey?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so actually God used the pregnancy to strengthen me.
Really?
Because I think by the time I was getting to the 4th month of the pregnancy, I could now rise from a seat with ease. I don't know, there is just a new strength that I got. My hand received the grip. Remember, I got the treatment in December, so now it's around April, May, and now I can tell I'm gaining strength, you know, I'm gaining strength as I continue. Yeah, but now we had to do things differently. Remember, there was a clot, so we had to do daily injections. My husband had to inject me every day, because there are no blood thinners that are recommended, which are tablets. They normally recommend you do the injections, yeah. So we had to inject the tummy, you know, and yeah, for the whole time, and it went well. Of course, I had to be checked oftenly, or rather regularly, and everything went well.
And baby got here safe and sound?
Yeah, baby got here safely, and he's fine. Yeah, he's almost now 5 months, a boy. The firstborn was a girl.
Amen.
Yeah, and we named him Imani. I mean, it was a journey of faith, and the other name is Nathan, which is a gift given by God. We feel this was a child God just gave us, because even the labor was so smooth. I mean, there was nothing difficult. Yeah, and just a few hours of labor and the baby was here. Yeah, and I recovered so fast. In fact, by the 2nd week after delivery, I was fine, and I'm so grateful.
With a journey like that into motherhood, motherhood must have a different meaning for you, a new meaning. What does motherhood mean to you now, knowing what it took for you to get here?
Yeah, one, I appreciate mothers. I respect mothers, you know. Yeah, and the fact that I feel I have laid quite a lot for my children, you know. I can only pray for them, you know, and just pray that they will be great people, you know, like, because I think there has been prices that I've paid, and I can only commend them to God.
They definitely have a great purpose,
both of them, you know. Yeah, and just to appreciate that God doesn't make mistakes, you know, and whatever I went through at first, I think that's why He couldn't allow us to stay for so long without another child, and He had to use something that actually I was dreading, you know, something that I was actually afraid of, even
Yeah.
thinking that I would get back there,
Yeah.
to actually heal me, you know.
Amen.
And the nerve condition is over. I mean, I'm okay. I'm now fine. My body has bounced back.
We thank God. So even
thank
for
God.
you, it's like you have a new lease of life, you know, through your children.
Yeah.
What does life mean to you as well?
Yeah, they are so precious to me, and you know, I take them as gifts, you know, gifts from God. And even
I feel
for
like
me,
you have a new lease of life.
yeah, I have a new.
So for you,
yeah,
yes.
So for me, the whole aspect of purpose and just appreciating life, you know, just appreciating life and good health. Yeah, that it's actually
Amen.
a great blessing to be in good health.
It is.
It's actually a blessing to be alive. And I've gotten to that point where now I'm optimistic about the future, this future that I don't know. Yeah, because I know it's in God's hands. And He has continued to unravel things. And I'm like, okay, God, you know. And I keep pushing. And just to realize that my life is an encouragement now.
Yes.
Yeah, and
I especially love how you've held on to your faith.
Yeah,
and it's giving you the drive, you know, through this journey.
Exactly. Yeah, that as
Well
I continue
done.
connecting with God, He has continued to give me a purpose actually for living. There's a time I felt there was nothing really to be happy about. Yeah, but you know, when I look at my children, I look at my husband, I'm forever grateful, you know, that there is a future that actually God has for us.
He does.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone at home? You can look at the camera, who's feeling discouraged right now. They're in that place where you were in at some point and they don't know what tomorrow brings. What can you tell them today?
Yeah, so seasons are never permanent. They're temporary, and even when you go through those tough seasons, there's a God who cares, and there's a God who carries us through those storms, and He actually crowns us with glory and grace as we go through those situations. So I would encourage everyone out there that I mean, there's no room for getting discouraged or giving up, but you know, keep pushing and look up to God, for He holds our every breath actually.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gathoni. You have a powerful story. Thank you
you.
for sharing it with us. We are so grateful. You've inspired us. Thank you at home. I hope Gathoni's story has spoken to you in one way or another. It definitely has for me. I wish you all the best, you and your family. God bless you all abundantly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. And thank you at home for watching. We appreciate your time each and every week. Special thanks to our beautiful Locations Takeout for hosting us. Until next week, take care of yourselves, be kind, stay safe, and God bless. Bye.